Hey everybody, sorry about the problems. I'm so new to this, it's absolutely crazy. But I'm here and I want to help you guys. For those of you guys who don't know me, I'm Dr. Laurie McCauley from Rehab, Optimum Pet Vitality, CRI, I used to teach for them, all kinds of places. I want to talk to you guys about the link between health span, lifespan, the brain, the body, all of that. My goal is to teach you as much as I can in a little bit of time, but over multiple days to help you guys work with your dogs and your patients if you happen to work with dogs. Yay, I see people are watching. That's so exciting. I would love to see in the chat if you guys tell me who you are, where you're from, so I have an idea of if you're vets, if you're techs, if you're pet parents, if you're a massage therapist, if you're a PT, all of that stuff. That would be really cool to me, so I can see who's out there. For those of you guys who don't know me well, I am the person who had the first rehab clinic, literally more than 24 years ago. I've been a vet for 30 years. It's awesome. I've been working with animals since the time I was 15. And I figured out that I have this gift. I started rehab. I had the first rehab clinic, and I see things that other people don't see, which is really cool because then I can teach you guys and you can see it too. I figure if I work all day on dogs, I can help 10 dogs. But for every 10 people I teach to do what I do, it's 100 dogs a day. And literally, I've taught thousands and thousands of people. And today I want to work with you. All right, so let's get started. I wanted to tell you about some research because I'm a nerd. I know, blonde and a nerd doesn't go very well together, but it's who I am. I love research. And I love studying the brain and the body and how they work together. So the first thing I want to tell you is that there's been studies in mice that look at the size of their brain and how activity can actually change that. So if you take mice and they just live in their little environment, or if you take mice that have been living in their little environment and give them enrichment, exercise for just 45 days. That's not a whole lot, 45 days. What they found is that these mice's brain, the hippocampus, the part that's in charge of memory and learning, literally increased by 15%. 15%, that's huge, 45 days, right? But there's more, right? So now they said, okay, let's take these mice and see if we give them more time with exercise and enrichment or learning new things, we can change their lives and their brains. And what they found was in those in those mice, that their brains, so they did 10 months. Now, a mouse only lives about 2 years, right? Give or take a few months. But they took these mice and at 10 months of exercise and enrichment, the hippocampus, again, the part of the brain that is in charge of learning and memory, grew 5 times the size of the mice that did not have the enrichment and the exercise. So 5 times, what does that really mean? That means if that part of their brain was 1 gram, the guys that had the exercise and the enrichment, that part of their brain was 5 grams, right? That's huge. Can you imagine if you took the part of your brain that did learning and memory and increased it by 5 times, right? We can do this, well, we can do it for ourselves and we can do it for dogs. And you say, but Laurie, we're not mice. How do we know that this actually pertains to humans or to dogs? And it's not just a mouse thing, right? More research. I love research. I love being able to dig into it. They did research with, first of all, let's talk about mice again for 1 minute, and then we'll go to the humans. They did research with mice that showed if they did continuous exercise, not like all day long, but like the equivalent of us going for a long walk or our dog playing ball, right? The mice were on a wheel. All they gave them was a wheel. And what they found with those mice was that their brains, their neurons, they created more neurons, right? So the neurons increased in number. And you can say, wait a second. When I went to school, they said you were born with this many neurons. It doesn't change. They were wrong, right? There's lots of really good research to show that those neurons can continue to, we have stem cells that can turn into neurons with the right chemicals, and the exercise is actually doing just that. So just doing repetitive motion, a mouse running on a wheel, increased the number of new neurons. Then they took another group of mice and they said, all right, take the wheel away, but we're going to teach them tricks. We're going to go through mazes. We're going to give them enrichment, things, little tunnels, little toys to play with. And what they found with those guys is that they didn't increase the number of new neurons, but they did increase the life expectancy, the longevity of the neurons they had. So now imagine those mice where they're taking in the activity like being on a wheel and learning new things, being able to increase the number of new neurons and increasing the life expectancy. That's how they get to that 5-fold number, we think, of increased brain capacity, increased learning ability. Think about kids, right? They go to kindergarten, they learn blue and green and yellow, ABC, how to write. What is that teaching them? It's not necessarily teaching them everything they need to know for life. It's teaching them how to learn. And the kids who do well learning how to learn are the ones who do well later on in school because those neurons are firing, right? If you take a puppy, let's turn it to dogs for a second. If we take a puppy and you say, okay, I have this puppy and he's looking at me like, oh, come please play with me. And you've got this puppy who says, I'm here, mom's there, and there's a gate between us. I'm going to climb over that gate. That's the smart one. You could say, oh, naughty puppy, but it's not. He's a problem solver. He's using his brain. I say, good job. And then put up a bigger wall because I don't want him climbing over. But that's exactly what we're looking for, is how the brain works. All right, now we said we were going to take that to humans for a second. Another study looked at terminal human patients, so people that were in the hospital. And yes, they approved this study. They said, okay, we know you're going to pass soon. We want to take some of you guys and we want to have you hang out, watch TV, just pass the time, do whatever you want. And with this group of humans, we are going to give you specific puzzles, teach you language skills, right? Learning a new language is huge for brain activity in humans. Work on instruments, music, things like that, which we know triggers learning abilities in our brain. And then when these people passed, they looked at their brains, they looked for specific cells, which say that they are brand new neurons. And they found that there was a very low number in the people that were hanging out watching TV. And there was a very high number in the people that were learning new languages and learning new musical instruments and puzzles and specific things like that. That's neuroplasticity, helping our brain learn. It's so cool. Now let's take this to the dogs. What about if we were to stimulate these dogs, teach them new tricks, teach them how to think, right? How many of you guys have heard of Superman? Type it in the chat if you've heard of the Superman program with the armed forces. It's a program where they take puppies, and I want to say it's between 7 days old and 21 days old. And they did things like, let's take this puppy and turn it on its side and just hold it that way for 30 seconds. Let's take this puppy and turn it upside down and just hold it there for 30 seconds. Let's take this puppy and take a Q-tip and just tickle between his feet for like 30 seconds. Let's take this puppy and put it on a frozen washcloth, right? So you wet the washcloth, you put it in the freezer, you put the puppy on it, the puppy goes, oh, that's really cold, and he steps off. You're teaching the dog how to think. What they found was that the puppies that had gone through this program were way more able to deal with stress and figure out problems than the puppies that didn't. So they split litters and they did this, and they found that that was the best way to work with these puppies and get the dogs that were the best able to cope being in the armed forces and being able to think things through. It's awesome, right? Awesome. All right, so what else? How do we take this to our dogs? How do we say, okay, this is really cool, Laurie. We talked about brains, we talked about neuroplasticity, we talked about little stresses, things like that. But my dog's sitting here. What am I gonna do? Well, let's talk about three main topics, three main things we can do to help our dogs work on their brain. The first thing is take them for walks, right? We know that in humans, the number one thing we can do for our health and our health span, right? There's all kinds of supplements and things we can do. The easiest number one thing we can do is 25-minute walks 5 days a week or more. Go out for a hike. Take your dog with you. It's great for both of your brains and bodies. We know that if we want to burn fat, I probably should have said in the beginning, I'm board certified in sports medicine and rehabilitation, so I've learned all kinds of really cool stuff. If we just meander through life, walking around slowly, we can get our steps in, but we're not going to burn fat. That's why people can have like no muscle and still have lots of fat and still get their steps in. If you want to burn fat, if you want to decrease the fat on your dog, you want to be walking or doing some kind of activity that is changing your breathing pattern for at least 25 minutes, right? The first part, we're going to get rid of we're going to use our glycogen, and you really don't necessarily want to know all that stuff. What you do want to know is that it's at least 25 minutes, and then it's after that we're burning fat. And the whole time, you want to be working hard enough that you're changing your breathing pattern. Do that with you and your dogs. So it can be walking, it can be swimming, it can be running. You say, you know what? My hip hurts. I can't walk with my dog. Okay, take a chuck-it, take a ball, take their favorite toy, throw it. And if you go, I have a retriever, that's great. I have a terrier, not so much, right? I have a terrier, not so much. But I could teach him that if I take my ball and I throw it and you bring it back to me, you get a piece of food. It's not extra treats because we don't want him to get fatter. It's part of his dinner or part of his breakfast, right? So we can use what we have to get them to exercise even if you can't. If you can, it's even better. All right, really cool is swimming. Right? Now, I'm not talking about I throw a ball, the dog runs out, grabs the ball, comes back, drops the ball, shakes, and is ready to do it again. Because there's rest periods in there. But if the dog is actually swimming for more than 5 minutes, it's continuous, right? Hanging out in the water, doggy paddling, that is actually an equivalent of 20 minutes of walking or running exercise. And by 5 minutes, you'll hear them with their head out of the water, right? And, because I have to tell you this, you can tell if they're using their back legs by where their tail is or where their butt is. If this is their head and this is their butt, if they're doing this, they're not using their back legs. If they're doing this, they're fully using their back legs. And if they're somewhere in the middle, they're just using them a little bit. So swimming is a great thing. Walking, running, swimming, that's point one. Right? That's the part that's going to increase the number of new neurons. Part two, exercises, targeted exercises and tricks, right? The AKC has come out with trick certifications because they're realizing that how how much that can help the dogs. And it's fun. You can teach tricks, you could do exercises, and it wouldn't be fair if I tell you this and then didn't teach you an exercise, but we'll get to that in 1 second. So, walking, running, swimming, exercises and tricks. And the third one is a really important part, start young, right? If we wait until they're old, we can help them. But just like we saw in the mice, they increased their brain by 15%, whereas when they started younger, 5-fold, right? 5 times the amount of brain instead of just 15% of the original brain. Start young with your dogs. That's going to help them tremendously. All right, your turn. In the chat, I want you guys to tell me if you have any tricks or exercises that you're doing with your dog. Just type it in. I'm doing sit up and beg. I like to do high fives. I like to do spin and twirl. I like to do agility. I like to do barn hunt or all kinds of tricks. Step into a box. Get on a ball. All kinds of great things. All right. All right, it's time for me to teach you an exercise. I want to give you an exercise that every single dog can do. An exercise that you can do with a 3-week-old puppy. Fetch and long walks, perfect. Beg, sit up and beg is a great one. Great for trunk, awesome. My dog's afraid of the physio ball. I can show you how to do that. I can show you how to get your dog comfortable with the physio ball. But before we do that, we are going to grab Sid and show you one exercise that you can do with an older dog, with a baby dog, with an older dog, head in a box. Oh yes, oh my God, Laurie, you remember that. Head down, crawl under cavalettis. Yes, head in a box is one of my absolute favorite exercises. That's where you take the dog and you put their front feet on the ball and you say, okay, where's the cookie? Where's the cookie? Pretend that there is a cookie at each place. That if I had a box on my head that was filled with packing peanuts, each place that I go to, a different peanut is going to get a cookie or at least a nibble on a cookie. Awesome. I love crawling under cavalettis. I actually have a game that I play with Sid that where we have the cavaletti jacks that you can get at Optimum Pet Vitality because I designed them. And we go over some, and we go under some, and we go around some, and we go through some. It's really, really cool. But I am going to come behind. Come here, Sid. You guys can see Sid. Oh, I know. We're going to stand Sid up. I'm going to put cookies in front of him so he knows that he's going to get a treat. All the way up. There you go. Now, I have him, I put him on an unstable surface. So if you have a young dog or an old dog or a weak dog, you would literally do this on a stable surface. It could be a countertop with a yoga mat for a small dog or on the ground. Here, I'm going to have him stand nice and square, and then I'm going to slide down. I'm going to shift his weight off of one leg and pick this one up. Ready? I gotcha. No, you're going to stand on this unstable surface. You got your, I don't have to pick it up high, right? It's only an inch or two off. I'm not grabbing. I'm holding it very gently. I can hold it with one finger, and he has to balance. And you say, okay, Laurie, that's like really easy. I have a strong dog. You can make this a really unstable surface. It could be a bed. It could be a stabilized Bosu or a stabilized peanut ball or a Bosu or a couch cushion. It can be a beanbag chair, it can be anything. And we can hold this up to 30 seconds, no cheating. And then we would just go to the next leg. Can I have this one? Again, I'm gonna shift his weight off of that leg, 2 fingers, I'm gonna pick it up. He's like, Mom, where's the cookies? Life is always better if there's a cookie in your mouth. And this is literally just his food. Oh, he says, oh, I can work for that. Sid actually works for every piece of food he gets. Well, most of them, right? We can do that for up to 30 seconds, and then we would do the other legs, and we would go through, right? That leg, and then we would come to this leg and hold that one up for 30 seconds. And if he could do 10 going all the way around, then we know he's ready for the next exercise. But another day, another story. I'm coming back, I'm coming back. Good job, buddy. All right, your turn again. Any questions? Oh, all right, hold on, let me see. Can I see? I can. Crawling under the cavities. Any questions that you guys have? Anything that I can teach you, share with you, anything that I can help you with? Type it in. I can't wait to see. Oh, we talked about my dog's afraid of the physio ball. See if I can do this. Your dog is standing on a physio ball. Stand on your feet. Thank you. And he's afraid. All you have to do is bounce him. Nope, stand up. By bouncing him on the physio ball, that's actually like rocking. There you go. Good job, buddy. It's a form of relaxation. It's like rocking a baby. Now, it relaxes them. So when you relax them, they're not using their muscles. So you can do that to get them used to it, but then you can't do that. You can't do that while you're actually doing the exercises. So first time, second time, maybe even the third time you do that. But after that, we're just on the ball. You're comfortable with it. Let's do our exercises. All right. Laurie says, can I use a balance pad for the exercise you just showed? Absolutely. Laurie, do you have a puppy or an older dog? I know you were doing, okay, he's in good shape and only 5 years old. Absolutely start now. Oh my gosh, there's all kinds of exercises. This is a beginning exercise. This is a foundation exercise. And I can tell you, because I know you know, okay, going back. 2 different people, sorry. Laurie, can I use balance pad? Yes. I would start with balance pads. Couch cushions would be harder. You can use your FitPaws bones. You can use a stabilized ball. You can use the Bosu. And if you say your dog is bigger than a Bosu, then you use 2 Bosus or a couch cushion and a Bosu, right? If they're similar heights. And then you say, okay, well, Laurie, what about if my dog's back end is weak and I want to make it stronger? Oh, okay, you have 7-year-old Border Collie in good shape. You could do this on a Bosu, if you have one, and a couch cushion, or 2 different couch cushions. If you use one, it's gonna potentially work together. If you have 2, and you can do it right on the couch, so you don't even have to be like bending over, you can lift up one leg. And I can tell you, Laurie, because I know you, and I know you're great with dogs, if he's in good shape, I would switch from 3-legged stand to a 2-legged stand, which can be first in the diagonals. Again, making sure that you're picking up, not grabbing, just with 2 fingers. And then once they can okay, I can do 10 reps of 30 seconds. It's a lot of time, right? So we're strengthening our stabilizer muscles and we're actually doing endurance as we're doing strength. Then go to hemi-stands, right? So you're picking up the 2 right side legs and then the 2 left side legs. All right. Thank you for the idea. Perfect. And then when should I start with my dog? He's in good shape and only 5 years old. Absolutely start now, Stuart. You want to, remember we said 5 times the brain capacity versus 15% if we start when they're older. We want to work these dogs now. If you have a 6-week-old puppy, you can be doing the exercise we just did, right? Teach them how to learn. Teach them the foundations. Get their bodies strong. One of the other beautiful things about these exercises is it works specifically on the muscles that are going to stabilize the joints, so we're less likely to have injuries, right? 42% of dogs that compete in agility have an injury at some point. We want to prevent those. Stabilizing the joints by strengthening the muscles, the tendons, and the ligaments is how we prevent injuries. Now, we can't necessarily prevent an injury if they're gonna like fall off the dog walk and land on something, but twisting, running, grabbing with their feet, elbows, shoulders, knees, all of that we can help with. Hips, all of it. Exercise, exercise, exercise. Both endurance exercise, swimming, walking, running, and targeted exercise to strengthen the muscles, tendons, and ligaments. Wait, did I say tendons and ligaments? Can you actually strengthen tendons and ligaments? Yes, you can. Absolutely. When we look at the physiology behind it, we can have physiological changes in muscles within 3 weeks of exercise, of starting exercise. When we look at the physiology of tendons and ligaments, it takes 3 months, 3 to 4 months actually, to have significant physiological changes. But we can actually increase hypertrophy or the thickness and the size of the tendon and ligament. What's the #1 surgery that our dogs in the United States, can't tell you around the world, probably, but I don't know if it's the statistics for sure. I know in the United States, what's the #1, and somebody put it into the chat if you know it. What's the #1 injury we see, the #1 surgery that the surgeons are doing from an injury? Yeah, CCL. Is a ligament. We can strengthen the ligaments with our dogs with targeted exercise. Imagine being able to think that we can decrease our chance of that injury by just doing exercises, specific exercises, to help strengthen that. Torn cruciates. Yep. All right. Awesome. Did you guys have fun? Give me some thumbs up or hearts or something so I know. Did you learn something? Again, thumbs up or hearts. I would love to see that. And I will see you guys again soon. I had so much fun today. Oh, there we go. Yay. I got a thumbs up. Awesome. Thank you guys. I had so much fun. I would like to have this start and do this more often to help you guys. All right, guys, have a great day. I hope you had fun. Pop in the chat. Let me know that you were here. And if you have questions, we'll answer them next time. Have a great day. Oh, hearts. Yay. Thank you, guys. Yay. Take care. Bye-bye.